In this video, we're going to build a simple but powerful expert advisor in MQL5, but this isn't really about the strategy, it's about control, because the reality is most traders don't lose because of their strategy, they lose because they can't follow it. They hesitate, they overtrade, they break their own rules, and one bad decision turns into two, and then three, and before you know it, the account is gone. So instead of trying to be more disciplined, we're just going to remove the problem completely, and we'll let the EA enforce the rules for us. So what we're building here is a simplified version of something that I called trade lock. So this EA doesn't actually trade for you, it controls when you're allowed to trade. So we have three simple rules. First, max trades per day. So for example, if we set this to 2, once 2 trades are taken, that is it, and no more trading for the rest of the day. Then second, we have the session control, and we define a start hour and an end hour, and then outside of that time, trading is completely blocked. So if your strategy only works during the London session, then you physically cannot trade during the New York or the Asian session. And third, this is the key one. So we stop after the first win. So if your first trade hits its take profit, trading is immediately blocked for the rest of the day. You've hit your target and you're done. There's no giving it back, no revenge trading, and no emotional decisions. The EA just shuts everything down. Now this EA does include a strategy, but that's only there so we can actually see trades being taken in the strategy tester. The focus here is just the rule enforcement. Okay, so the strategy itself is very simple. We're going to use a 50 EMA and a 200 EMA. We're going to wait for a cross, and then we wait for price to pull back to the 50 EMA, and the entry is taken when a candle closes back in the direction of the trend. The stop loss goes beyond the recent high or low, and the take profit is set to a fixed risk to reward. Again, this is just to generate trades so we can test the rules. If you're serious about automated trading, I've put together a few free resources on my website to help you. First, you can download my free professional trading journal, and this helps you track your win rate, your average R, your expectancy, and overall performance, so you can start treating trading like a real business. I've also included a free MQL5 EA starter pack, and this gives you the same framework that I use when building expert advisors, so you can build faster and avoid wasting time starting from scratch. And if you want to learn how to code your own trading robots, I also have a complete beginner-friendly MQL5 course where we build expert advisors step by step. And if you already have a strategy and you want it automated properly, I offer custom EA development services where I turn your trading rules into a clean, reliable MT5 Expert Advisor. Everything is available at www.mqlexpert.com. Let's get back to the video. Alright, so jumping into the code, we start by including the trade class, which gives us access to the MT5 trading functions. Then we create our trade object, which we'll use to execute orders. Then we define all of our inputs. So we've got the general settings where we control risk percent, the magic number, and whether the EA should only allow one position per symbol. Then we have the important part, which is the rule guard settings. This is where we set the max trades per day and whether the EA should stop trading after the first winning trade. Then we have the session settings where we define the start hour and the end hour. After that, we have the EMA strategy settings, which control the test entry logic. And then we have the trade setting, which just controls the slippage. And finally, we have the panel setting, which lets us show or hide the on-chart display. After the inputs, we have our global variables. This is where we store the EMA handles, the last process bar time, the last trade day key, the last cross direction, whether a pullback has been found, whether a trade has already been taken from the current cross, and then our panel prefix. The panel prefix is used when we create the on-chart labels. Next, we have the onInit function. This runs once when the EA is loaded onto the chart. So first, we set the magic number and the slippage in points. Then we create the two EMA handles using IMA. One handle is for the fast EMA and the other one is for the slow EMA. We're using the current symbol, the current time frame, the EMA period, the shift is 0, EMA mode, and we're using the closed price. Next, we check if either handle is invalid. If one of them is failed to create, then we return in it failed and the EA stops. After that, we create the panel. We loop 5 times because we want 5 possible lines on the chart. And for each line, we create a label object. We set it to the top left corner. We set its X and Y distance. We set the font size, the color to white, and we set the font to Arial. The Y distance uses 50 plus I multiplied by 22. So each label appears underneath the previous one. Then if everything is created correctly, we return init succeeded. Then next we have the onDinit function, and this runs when the EA is removed from the chart. So first we check if the fast EMA handle is valid, and if it is, we release it. And then we do the same for the slow EMA handle. And after that, we loop through the 5 panel labels and we delete them from the chart. This just keeps everything clean when the EA is removed. Next we have the isNewBar function. This checks whether a new candle is formed. We get the open time of the current candle using iTime. If that time is the same as the last process bar time, we return false. That means we're still on the same candle. But if the time has changed, then we update the last processed bar time and we return true. So this lets us run the entry logic once per candle instead of on every tick. Next we have the getDateKey function. So this converts a datetime value into a simple daily key. We create an MQL datetime structure. We convert the time into that structure using time to struct, and then return one number built from the year, month, and day. This gives each day a unique value. Next we have the session filter. So we create an MQL datetime structure again, and we convert the current server time into it. If the start hour and end hour are the same, we return true, meaning trading is allowed today. If the start hour is less than the end hour, we check whether the current hour is between those two values. And if the session crosses midnight, the final return handles that by checking whether the hour is after the start or before the end. So this function tells us whether trading is currently allowed based on the session times. Next, we have the hasOpenPosition function. So this checks if there is already an open position on the current symbol. If no position exists, then we return false. If a position does exist, we get the magic number from that position and then we compare it to this EA's magic number. And if they match, it means this EA already has a position open. So next we have the normalized lots function. So this makes sure the lot size is valid for the broker. We get the symbols minimum lot size, maximum lot size, and lot step. If the lot size is too small, we set it to the minimum, and if it's too large, we cap it at the maximum. Then we calculate how many lot steps fit into the lot amount, we round that down, and we rebuild the final lot size. And after that, we work out how many decimal places the lot size needs and return the final normalized value. This prevents invalid volume errors when sending trades. Next, we calculate the lot size based on risk percent. So first, if the stop loss distance is invalid, we return 0. Then we get the account balance and we calculate the money risk. So if the account is, say, 10,000 and the risk is 1%, the risk amount is 100. Then next, we get the tick value, the tick size, and the point size for the symbol. If any of those values are invalid, we return 0. Then we calculate the value per point for one lot. After that, we calculate how much the stop loss would cost if we traded one full lot. And if that value is true, we divide the risk money by the stop loss value. And that gives us the correct lot size for the risk. And finally, we pass that lot size into normalized lots, so the final volume is valid for the broker. Next, we have get EMA values. So this reads the EMA values from the indicator handles. We create 2 arrays, one for the fast EMA and one for the slow EMA, and then we set both arrays as series, so the latest values are at the front. We use copy buffer to copy 2 closed candle values from each EMA. We start from candle 1, so we are not using the current live candle. If either copy fails, then we return false, and then we assign the values. So fast 1 and slow 1 are the most recent closed candle values, and fast 2 and slow 2 are the previous candle values, and then we return true. Next, we have the get recent high function. So this function finds the highest high over the selected lookback period. We use iHighest to find which candle has the highest high. We start from candle 1, so we ignore the current live candle. If the shift is invalid, we return 0, otherwise we return the high price from that candle. And then we have the get recent low function. This is obviously the same idea, but for the lowest low. So we use iLowest to find the lowest candle over the lookback period, and if that fails, then we return 0. Otherwise, we return the low price from that candle. Next, we count how many trades have been taken today. we get the current server time, we convert it into a day structure, then reset the hour, the minute and the seconds to 0. That gives us the start of the current day. Then we select the history from the start of the day until now, and if the history selection fails, we return 0, and then we loop through today's deals. For each deal, we get the ticket, we check the symbol, we check the magic number, and then check whether the deal was an entry. If it was an entry deal for the CA, we increase the count. At the end, we return the number of trades taken today. This is how we enforce the max trades per day rule. Next, we check whether the first closed trade of the day was a winner. Again, we get the current time and reset it back to the start of the day, and then we select today's history. We create two variables, one for the first closing deal ticket and one for its close time. Then we loop through all of today's deals. We skip invalid tickets, wrong symbols, wrong magic numbers, and anything that's not a closing deal. And when we find a closing deal, we get its time. If it's the first closing deal found, or it happened earlier than the one currently stored, we save it. After the loop, if no closing deal was found, we return false. If one was found, we calculate the trade result using profit, swap, and commission. And finally, we return true if the result is above 0. So if the first closed trade of the day was a winner, this function returns true. That will then block you from trading and giving your profits back. Next, we have the main can trade function. This is the core rule guard. First, if we are outside the session, trading is blocked. Then if the max trades per day has been reached, trading is blocked. Then if stop after the first win is enabled and the first trade today was a winner, trading is blocked. Then if one position per symbol is enabled and there is already an open position, trading is blocked. And if all of those checks pass, we return true. So this function is the main gatekeeper before any trade can be placed. Next, we have the test entry logic. So this is where the EA looks for an EMA cross, waits for a pullback, and then looks for an entry. First, we create the EMA value variables. Then we call get EMA values. If we can't get the EMA values, we return. Next, we check for the cross. So if the fast EMA was below or equal to the slow EMA before, and now it is above, we mark the direction as a buy. And then we reset pullback found and trade taken for cross because this is a fresh cross. If the opposite happens and the fast EMA crosses below the slow EMA, we mark the direction as sell and reset the same variables. After that, we get the high, the low, and the close price of the last closed candle. For buys, we check if price has pulled back to the fast EMA by seeing if the low of candle 1 touched or moved below the fast EMA. For sells, we check if price pulled back to the fast EMA by seeing if the high of candle 1 touched or moved above it. And if no pullback has been found yet, or if a trade has already been taken from this cross, then we return. And then after that, we call can trade. This is important because even if the strategy gives a valid entry, the rule guard can still block the trade. So if we are outside the session, max trades has been hit, or the first trade was a win, or a position is already open, then no trade can be placed. After that, we get the point size, the ask price, and the bid price. Then we get the recent high and recent low using the lookback functions. If those levels are invalid, we return. For the buy entry, the cross direction must be a buy and the last closed candle must close above the fast EMA. Then we place the stop loss below the recent low with a buffer, and we calculate the risk distance from the ask price to the stop loss. If the risk is invalid, we return, and then we calculate the take profit using the risk to reward multiple. After that, we calculate the stop loss distance in points. We pass that into the risk percent lot size function to calculate the correct lot size. And if the lot size is valid, we open the buy trade. And if the trade is successful, we mark this cross as traded. And then we do the same thing for the sells. For a sell, the cross direction must be sell and candle 1 must close below the fast EMA. The stop loss goes above the recent high with a buffer, and the risk is calculated from the stop loss down to the bid price. The take profit is placed below the entry using the RR multiple, and then we calculate the lot size based on the risk percent. If everything is valid, we open the sell trade and we mark the cross as traded. Next, we have the function that updates the on-chart panel. So first we check if show panel is false. If the panel is turned off, then we loop through all 5 label objects, we clear the text and we return. But if the panel is enabled, we get today's trade count, then we get today's profit or loss. After that, we check if the session is currently active, we check whether the max trades limit has been hit, and we check whether the first trade of the day was a winner. Then we combine those into can trade. Trading is only allowed if max trades has not been hit, the session is active, and the win lock is not active. Next, we calculate trades left by subtracting today's trade count from the maximum allowed trades. If trades left goes below 0, we force it back to 0. And if trading is blocked for any reason, we also force trades left to 0, and that keeps the display accurate. Then we set the status text. So if trading is allowed, the panel says trading active. If not, it says trading blocked. After that, we create the reason text. So if trading is blocked because max trades has been reached, then the reason says max trades reached. If trading is blocked because we are outside session, then the reason says outside session. And if trading is blocked because the first winning trade has already happened, then the reason says daily target hit. Then we create the 5 panel lines. Line 1 is the status, line 2 is the reason, but only if there is a reason. Line 3 is trades left, line 4 is today's profit or loss, and line 5 shows whether the session is on or off. Then we loop through those lines, and if a line is empty, we clear that label and we skip it. If it has text, we place it into the next available label on the chart, and that's what prevents the panel from showing a blank label line when there is no reason to display it. Next, we have get today's P&L function. This calculates today's profit and loss. We get the current server time, convert it into a date structure, and reset the hour, the minute, and the seconds back to 0. That gives us the start of the current day. Then we select the trade history from the start of the day until now. If the history selection fails, then we return 0. Next, we create a profit loss variable and start it at 0. Then we loop through all deals for the day. For each deal, we check the ticket, symbol, magic number, and entry type. We only want closing deals for the CA on the current symbol. If the deal matches, we add the profit, swap, and commission to the total, and then at the end we return today's total profit or loss. Then finally, we have the onTick function. So this runs every time price updates. If a new bar has formed, we call check for cross and pullback. So the entry logic only runs once per candle and not on every tick. Then we call update panel. That means the panel updates continuously, even when no new trade is being checked. So the EA can always show whether trading is active, blocked, how many trades are left, today's profit or loss, and whether the session is on or off. And that's pretty much it. So it is a little bit of a longer code, 522 lines. But yeah, so now what we can do is we can go over to MetaTrader 5 and we can make sure that it is working. Okay, so here we have the inputs, we have the risk percent, the magic number, the 1 position per symbol, max trades per day, which is set to 2, stop after first win, which is true. We're going to start it at 7 AM until 8 PM. And then we have the EMA settings, the 50, the 200, the look back bars is set to 10, which means we're going to place the stop loss at the highest high or the lowest low over the past 10 candles, and we're targeting to R. Okay, so we can see that we are before 7 AM, so trading is blocked. It tells you the reason, because we are outside of the session, we have no trades, and so far we have not made no profit or loss, and the session time, we're out of session time, so this tells us it's off. So now we have passed 7 AM, trading is active. We have 2 trades left for today. So far we haven't entered the trade yet. The session is on. So you can see now we have entered a trade. Trades left has gone down to 1 because we only have 1 trade left. Let's see what happens. So this was a loss, but now we have gone past 8 PM, so trading has been blocked again because we're outside of the session. and we have 0 trades left. Our total loss is here, so I've got this set to 10%. It shows as 1%, but MT5 is a bit funny. It should be set to 0.1 for 1%, but I didn't do it. So yeah, you can see that we did lose 10% of the balance, £100,000 account, $100,000 account, and the session is now off. So now we wait till the following day. You can see now we've passed 7 a.m, so trading is active, and we have our 2 trades for the day. We have entered a trade, and now we have 1 left. Just ignore this session off. It doesn't really make a difference. It's just obviously a typo in the code. Okay, so that one was a win. Trading is now blocked because our daily target is hit and we have no trades left. So we only get the actual 2 trades if the first one is a loss. But if our daily target is 2R for the day and the first trade wins, then we've made the 2R. So we don't want to take the second trade and then risk losing one of the R and giving it back. So that's why we do that like that. So now we'll just wait till the following day, and this will just be the last day now. And then I will turn this off because you can see how it is working. Okay, so we didn't get a trade that day, but you can see this is working perfectly. And obviously when you are manually trading this, because as I said, if you was to purchase the full trade lock that I built, which has a lot more features to it than this, it doesn't trade for you. You would be manually trading it. Obviously, if you've copied the code in this video, then that won't be the case. You could put any strategy into it and these rules will apply automatically. But yeah, as I said, it is a manual strategy, so you would find your entry, you would enter the trade manually, and if it was a loss, you'd have 1 trade left. And if it hit TP, then you wouldn't be able to trade for the rest of the day. So it's just a rule enforcement EA. It doesn't trade. But yeah, I think I've made that point clear. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I will show you what you get with the actual trade lock. So we have a closed trades on lock, which means if any of the blocks happen where trading is no longer allowed, it closes any open trades as well. If you set this to false, then any open trades will stay open, but no more will be allowed. That's your personal preference. The max daily drawdown settings, we set this to 4%. So this was made mainly for prop firm trading, but you can use this for personal accounts as well. And most prop firms allow a 5% daily drawdown. So if you've set it to 4%, you can never hit your max daily drawdown. And that's one of the reasons why most people fail the challenges. Then we have the session lock settings, where we can decide the start hour, minute, and the end hour a minute, like how we had in the mini trade lock example, except we didn't have the minutes. And we also have a news filter setting, because this is another rule for prop firms. And so most prop firms don't allow you to enter or exit trades within 5 minutes before or after news. So this is set to 15 minutes before the news and 15 minutes after the news. Obviously, you can change this to whatever time you want. You can filter for high impact news and medium impact news, and it will get the news automatically from the news that's built into MT5, so it's up to date. And then we have the profit lock settings, so the daily profit target lock, which is true, and the daily target of 2%, which is basically what we just had in the mini trade lock EA. And then obviously we have a dashboard which shows everything from here. It is a lot more advanced and a lot nicer than the dashboard, well, not the dashboard, the panel that we made in the mini trade lock. But that was just for an example, like I said. If you'd like a copy of the full trade lock, you can visit my website at MQL5expert.com, and you come to view trade lock, and you can see here, you can see the trade lock protection panel. Obviously it's much nicer and more advanced than the panel that we just built. And you can see here everything that it does, so on, and the price for it is currently just £49. For lifetime use, you only pay once. If you don't use PayPal, you can always contact me through Telegram or contact me on the contact page of my website. Then we'll use a different payment provider. Other than that, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.